Truth clings on to Naomi because she knew what she wanted. So many of us have come to God and we came because we wanted healing. We came because we wanted a job. We came because we wanted a miracle. We are Christians, but we want to just look like the people of the world. Welcome to Maria Speaks. Thank you and glad that you could join me today. So imagine a world that is full of good, no evil, no sin. It's all great and life is just happening. And all that comes to my mind is maybe life after the second coming of Christ and the life that we will have with him. So I'm pretty much trying to paint the story of Adam and Eve at the Garden of Eden. This is before the fruit, the big fruit that we talk about, came into the way. And so it's so easy for us to stand and judge Adam and Eve because of not keeping or obeying just one simple instruction. But then if I could be in the same shoes as Eve, probably I would go back to Adam with a basket full of the fruits that were forbidden. So I don't think I want to dwell on the judgment, but I want us to talk about the love of our great Father, the good love and the great unconditional love of Christ. So he tells them not to eat of the fruit, and they go ahead and disobey. And then afterwards, God comes looking for them, and he realizes, and actually they tell him that they are naked. So God goes ahead and makes clothing for them and covers their nakedness. And after that, he still allows them to live, and despite having disobeyed him. And when I think about this thing or the deed how they disobeyed God, I am reminded of the many set of instructions that God has put in his word for us. And the many times we go against them and just break the commandments, but the good Lord still comes around and covers us from our sin. He covers us from the shame. He covers us from the nakedness. He literally makes clothing for us so that we are able to find the grace to continue the following day. And if you could also think about the story of the children of Israel and how they insisted on having visible kings, and that was pretty much rejecting God as their invisible king. And God is like, these are the repercussions of, say, if you have kings, but they still want to be like the rest of the nations. The many times we want to be like the rest of the people. We are Christians, but we want to just look like the people of the world. And so God is like, okay, fine, I'm going to give you a king, and I'm still going to be your God. It's fine. And then they come back to God, and some of the kings mistreated them. Some of the kings did not obey the oracles of God. Some of the kings didn't lead them as wise as the Lord would have. And when they cry out to God, he still comes around and covers their nakedness. He still comes around and listens to their petition and answers. Sometimes he would dethrone kings. Sometimes he would fight for the Israelites, having rejected him. And this just makes me stand amazed at the amazing and the unconditional love of God. Just think of the many times you've gotten yourself into relationships that God did not approve of, that you got yourself into things that the Lord strictly warned you against. And then when you feel bruised, when you feel like you can't go on, he still comes around in his mercy. He still comes around in his love. He still comes around in his power and creates clothes to cover you from the shame. This doesn't mean that you don't get to live up to the consequences of the choices you make, but this means that you get to live another day to enjoy the unconditional love of God. And so this is something we should never take for granted, the unconditional and the amazing love of our good Father.